Welcome to another health and fitness video. We have another no equipment video made just for you and we're excited to share it to you friends. For today's topic, we'll discuss isometric exercises. Isometrics are when you hold muscular contractions without moving any joints. In case you don't know what these exercises are. So you're really simply holding a static position and counting seconds instead of reps. In this video, we'll show you 20 isometric exercises that are simple enough for anyone to do. They don't require any special equipment, effectively work the entire body. We'll start with the lower body and work our way up to the core and the upper body. Let's get started with a wall sit. Start with your heels, buttocks, upper back, and head flat against the wall. And then step your feet out one huge step away from the wall to complete a wall sit. Slide down the wall until your thighs are about parallel to the floor, with your toes pointing about 45 degrees outward and shoulder width apart. You'll just hold the position at this point and you should feel a great muscular contraction and the quadriceps on the front or top of the thighs, as well as the glutes. Hold this position for as long as you can while breathing normally. This is very crucial since we often forget to breathe in isometric exercises and just really hold our breath. You don't want to do that with all of the exercises that will be shown in this video. Continue to breathe normally. If you can't rise up at the finish, lean forward to reduce resistance and then stand up out of the squat. The Sumo Squad is the second exercise. And to complete it isometrically, you'll want to stand with your feet wider than shoulder width apart. Toes pointing roughly 45 degrees outwards, and then just sink down into a squat, which will mimic a horse stance in martial arts. Make sure to dig your heels as well as the outside edges of your feet into the ground since it engages the hip abductors, the muscles on the outside of your thighs. Remember to breathe, and if you don't have enough gas in the tank to stand up from this position, you can lower your hands to the floor and then go in a kneeling position. The static calf raise is the third exercise, which is a very easy one. You simply stand on your tiptoes, however, you're actually putting your weight on the balls of your feet, which is the padding right below the toes, rather than your toes. The muscles of the calves are contracted in this position, and to get out of it, simply place your heels on the floor. Exercise number 4 is a static lunge. Take a big step forward with your front leg flat on the ground. Your back leg should be raised on the ball of your foot or toes, with your knee bent to around 90 degrees. Make sure your front leg's knee does not extend past your front leg's toes. This is crucial to avoid putting undue strain on the knee joint. Because this is a unilateral exercise, make sure you also do the opposite leg forward. For the following exercise, we'll need a strong item to lean on such as a chair, and we'll be executing a hamstring curl to target the hamstrings. So lean against a chair approximately a foot away from the wall, then curl your leg backwards by bending at the knee until your heel is against the wall. Perform a hamstring curl by forcing your heel against the wall as if you were attempting to push the wall away from you but upwards. After you've held it for the maximum amount of time, switch legs and do the second leg as well because this is a unilateral exercise like the others. And the following one has an unusual name, Active Beast, which comes from Animal Flow. Many of the moves and positions are named after animals or things that are related to animals. Regardless, this is a highly effective yet basic isometric workout, so give it a shot. Make sure you're on your toes and that the tops of your feet are in flat on the floor because you'll be coming down with all the force in this posture. Exactly beneath the shoulders, palms flat on the floor. Your hips should be directly above your knees, and your knees should be lifted barely off the ground. It just takes a few seconds and it involves the engagement of the entire anterior core, and you also have to push it into the floor to protect your scapula. We highly recommend this exercise for improving strength and stability in the prone position. Following that, we'll take a look at an oldie but a goodie. Okay, this is a standard isometric exercise. Come down onto your elbows and forearms, then raise your hips to come up onto your toes. To maintain your body upright, contract your abs, actually your entire core, glutes, and thighs. You're doing a forearm plank when you drive your elbows and forearms into the floor to protect your scapula, which means your shoulder blades should be moving apart. This is an extremely popular fitness activity, and for a good reason. It works practically your entire body. Next, we're going to look at the side plank to target the obliques and hip abductors. As we lay on our side, we'll place one hand on our top thigh and the other flat on the floor with the elbow and forearm resting on the floor as well. Then raise the hips off the floor. The obliques and hip abductors on the side of the thigh will provide strength for this. If you're not used to using your obliques, holding this position may seem weird at first, but with practice, you'll get used to it. It may take some time to adjust, but because this is unilateral, make sure you work both sides. You can even make it more difficult by raising your upper leg, which will work the hip abductor more. We'll lie on our backs for the following exercise. We'll start with our knees bent and our feet flat on the floor, and we'll engage our posterior chain by working our glutes and lower back, which will lift our hips off the floor. Check that a straight line runs from your chest to your knees. This is crucial. You want to maintain a straight line while holding this isometric position. While the glute bridge is a regression that can be done by complete beginners, this following exercise is a progression. If you lift one foot off the ground and then lift it in the air and perform same movement as before. Because you are executing this exercise one side at a time, you're doing a single leg glute bridge, which adds resistance for that side of the body while keeping the foot flat on the floor. Ensure both sides are evenly worked. We are going to lie prone on the floor for exercise number 10. This entails lying flat on our stomachs, arms extended overhead, and feet pointed straight behind us. You want to lift your feet and hands off the floor and maintain the position. You'll note that you're contracting your lower back, mid-back, glutes, and hamstrings in this hyperextended position in order to lift your hands and feet off the floor. Superman holds are a perfect warm-up for back bridges because they train all of the same muscles required for back bridge hyperextension. We'll sit on the floor with our legs extended out in front of us for exercise number 11. You'll push your hips forward with your heels on the floor, then elevate your hips by squeezing your posterior chain, notably your lower back and glutes. You'll also note that you have to press firmly into the floor to maintain this position, and your fingers are pointing forward towards your feet. Okay, that's crucial when you're forcing your back into the floor. When you do a straight bridge, it's vital to open your chest and stretch those internal rotators, so it's training your upper back muscles as well as stretching your chest. We want to sit in the same position for exercise number 12, with our hands just near to our hips and then press down into the floor as we lean forward and lift our hips off the floor. This is a floor-assisted Lsit, which means our heels are resting on the floor to help us with the exercise. If you want to make this exercise more difficult as you get better, try a tucked Lsit, where your feet are off the floor but tucked in close to your body, or extend into a full floor Lsit. Exercise 13 is the straight arm plank. Come up onto your toes and hands in this prone posture. Palms down directly below your shoulders and protract the scapula by pressing hard into the floor. You're basically doing a push-up at the top, but this is a great way to strengthen the protracting muscles for your scapula, which are the subclavius and pec minor, especially in the upper chest. Number 14 is a progression of the straight arm plank. So get into a straight arm plank and make sure your scapula is completely extended, which means your shoulder blades are far apart since you're pushing into the floor. Now, from this position, press with your toes to lean forward. This shifts the weight to your shoulders, making your shoulders and wrists work harder to hold it. This is a great way to strengthen your wrists, and some people call it a plunge lean. This is a fantastic exercise to work on if you're planning on taking the plunge, but it's also good for anyone who isn't planning on taking the lunge. And for number 15, get into a prone posture with your fingers pointing back towards your knees, making sure your hands are reversed on the floor, and then come up into a plank position. Then lower down to the bottom of a push-up and hold it. This is known as a biceps plank because it focuses on the biceps on the front of your arms. What's amazing about it is that it's quite difficult given it's simply a plank exercise. So give it a try. It is highly recommended even those who are more advanced in watching this video. For number 16, start in a plank position, then leap your feet out wider than hip width and bring your hands narrower than shoulder width. From here, you'll do a single arm plank by raising one arm such that your hand is behind your back. You'll note that when you do this, you have to shift your weight to the side where your arm is on the ground, which will put a lot of strain on your core. It's also a great core exercise, but it also builds a lot of straight arm strength, and it is a good warm-up for the one-arm push-up. We'll target our upper back and posterior delts with exercise 17. From here, you must stand flat against the wall with your back against it. You'll elevate your arms to the side in the shape of a letter T, which is why it's called wall T holds. Extend your arms away from your body, then spin such that your palms face forward. The muscle contraction is what you want to perform immediately. Push back into the wall behind you using your elbows and forearms as if you're attempting to push the wall away from your back. As you perform this, you should feel a contraction in your rear deltoids, trapezius, and rhomboids. We're back on the floor for exercise 18. Come up to a pike position, but instead of executing a regular pike press, bend your elbows so your head is close to the floor and hold that position. This bent arm pike is excellent for strengthening the triceps, anterior deltoids, and the entire shoulder girdle and upper back. You will lie flat on your back for exercise 19. With your arms outstretched overhead and your toes pointed away from you, contract your abs, glutes, and thighs to lift your shoulder blades and heels off the floor into the hollow body. Holding this posture involves engaging the thighs, glutes, and abs to elevate the shoulder blades and heels. But you're also stretching your arms overhead and pointing your toes, making this a full body workout and a wonderful warm-up for the handstand. Highly suggested. This is an excellent activity that anyone may undertake. Number 20 is a bit of a stretch when it says everyone can accomplish it, but try it anyhow. Place your hands on the floor in front of a wall and your feet against it. Take a breather. This is known as a wall plank. You should work on it if the position feels difficult. However, if the wall plank isn't too difficult and you can hold it for 15 to 20 seconds, you can progress by walking your feet further out the wall until your hands reach the wall. This is known as a chest-to-wall handstand. To activate that posterior pelvic tilt, press hard into the floor to lift the scapula and work the abs, glutes, and thighs. This is a wonderful full-body workout that trains you for the handstand. If you have any questions about the video, let us know down in the comment section below. And if you want to learn even more about health and fitness, be sure to turn on your bell notifications so you'll get updated when we post new videos. If you liked the video, please click the like button and share it with your friends. Also, you can go ahead and click the subscribe button as well because we have tons of other videos on our channel we think you'll enjoy. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have a blessed day and stay healthy, my friends.